Today in the church, we celebrate World Marriage Sunday. I want to talk about this beautiful sacrament of holy matrimony. Because my fear is that while we live in a time and in an age where there's all kinds of talk about this redefining of marriage, it's important that you and I understand what the mystery of marriage is about. And in a certain sort of sense, we heard it proclaimed in the gospel today that you see that Jesus called these men and they followed him. He was inviting them to enter into his mystery. Christ is a mystery. And the mystery of Christ is for the salvation of the world. And so they leave everything to follow him. And so in inviting them to enter into his mystery, he desires that they allow him to enter into their mystery. And therein lies, my brothers and sisters, the essence of marriage. It is that two people are inviting one another to enter into their mystery. Every single human person is a mystery. It is the way that God has designed it. It is the way that he has created us. It is the way that he has made us. And so it is no coincidence that we have these attractions to one another. You know what? In the very beginning, at first, it's chemistry. We can't explain it. But we see something in the other that we are attracted to. And we want to know more. And we are inviting the person to reveal their mystery to us. And so couples date. But then after a fashion, they decide that they want to see that person exclusively. They want to know more. They want to know more. And so after this time of dating, they enter into this relationship, this exclusive relationship, and they begin to think, this is someone I could make a commitment to. This is someone I feel that I could spend the rest of my life with. And so they do. They make that commitment to one another. They get engaged and they decide to get married. But I have to be honest with you, and I have to say to you that as one who gives the marriage covenant talk to the couples who are preparing to get married in this deanery, I find that most young couples are not prepared for marriage because they don't understand the essence of what they are asking for and what they are saying yes to. And believe me when I tell you that no couple enters this church and walks down this aisle with the idea or the remote thought in their mind that in 5 years from that day or that point that they will no longer be together. No one thinks that way. No one has those kinds of thoughts. And yet you and I know that that's a reality. What happens in the life of people? What happens in the life of that couple that they forget everything that they promised to one another. And so they come to my office, and they sit, and I find that they want the same thing. I find that they are both saying the same thing, but they can't hear one another. Because at some point, they either forgot or they were never prepared and never understood that the most important aspect of their relationship was the mystery of the other person. There's a little voice inside all of our heads that says this: I know I'm not supposed to be used. I know I'm not supposed to be used. I doubt that there's anybody in the church this morning who does not know firsthand the experience of what it feels like to be used. We've all had that experience. No one wants to feel like a paycheck. No one wants to feel like a piece of furniture. No one wants to feel like they are an object, a thing to be used. And yet, I hear this. I hear a lot of it. And so I ask them, what are you willing to do to heal this relationship? And there's only one acceptable answer: whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. And so I say to them, the problem that I see and that I'm hearing in your relationship is that you have lost or forgotten your spouse's mystery. And so you have to rediscover in one another that which that attracted you to this person in the first place. And if you want your spouse to continue to reveal their mystery to you, you have to be willing to reveal yours. No one is going to reveal their mystery to someone they feel is going to use it against them. You know, I tell the couples before they get married, when you come into the church, I want you to remember there are 3 people getting married, not 2. The bride, the groom, who are going to be yoked to Christ. And I tell them that their mystery doesn't make any sense. The sacrament of their marriage doesn't make any sense outside of the mystery of Christ, who humbled himself to take upon our human nature in order that he might exchange his divine nature for ours. That's the marriage. That's the mystery. This is my body given for you. This is me for you. Inviting us to enter into the mystery of his dying and rising to new life. And that is exactly what spouses are asking one another to do, to enter into their mystery. But they must be willing to die to themselves for the other, that they might both rise to new life, that the two become one flesh. That's what gets lost. That's what gets forgotten. That's why marriages end. And so I tell them all, if you leave here today and you leave Christ here, I don't care how successful you become, you will never be happy. But if you leave here today and you bring Christ with you, and you remember why you are yoked to him, I don't care what happens to you, you will be content together living in a pup tent. If husbands and wives are not in divine communication, if you're not praying, it is unreasonable to think that you are going to be able to effectively communicate with your spouse. If this relationship isn't right, these relationships will never be right. If a husband doesn't put Christ first in his life, his wife will never be first. His wife will never be first. And vice versa. You see, when a husband or a wife puts Christ first, Jesus is a man for others and teaches us how to die to ourselves and say, this is me for you. World Marriage Sunday. We are having this debate in our culture today about the redefinition of marriage because we have forgotten Christ at the center of our lives, who is the sign of the mystery. Sign of the mystery.